mama's boy.
YouTube family, what's up? We back on Tony Talk TV. CFB though, man, we talking about legends. Welcome to my series, my new series, Legends Never Die. This is episode 1, and we covering a legend, a real Miami Hurricanes legend. I'm talking about historically, and I'm not the only one to think that. Look at what Stephen Smith said. Check this out.
Because you're going to give us your top 5 Miami players. This is hard.
It's not hard for me.
Come on.
The top 5 players in the history of Miami. They're coming out of Miami U in history. Let's go to number 5 on the list, please. Give it to me. Bam! Sean Taylor, the hitman. We knew what this brother was capable of. An elite defender, make no mistake about it, an All-American. The brother produced. We said, that's where I'm going with the top 5. Who's going to refute that?
He's number 5?
Excuse me. He's got top 5.
That's tough, though. Hey, he's not like 3 or 2. He's 5.
Excuse me. Listen fluid. Listen fluid.
Okay.
Warren Sapp.
Oh, okay.
So there y'all got it, a real legend we about to cover. I just want to let y'all know this story is real close to me because when Sean Taylor died, I was going to Palmetto Middle School. My mom was a maid actually at the time, working for a family, and we actually had to fake the address to go to that school. It was a suburban school, and I was actually in class with his nephew, Lil Israel Smith. If you ever watched this, what's up, homie? Reach out, man. You know, I went to prison, did some time, and I got out. And I, you know, of course, that was middle school when this happened, but his house was in Palmetto Bay, so I just want y'all to know I grew up looking up to Sean Taylor, even though I never played football. I was a baseball player, and, you know, things just went sideways, but it's an honor here to cover this with y'all, and I want to let y'all know about his legacy, how he made an impact on Miami, and I mean, he's one of the biggest impactful players coming out of Miami ever in history, so I want to get into it with y'all, and I want to keep his legacy alive. It was just his birthday, April 1st, so rest in peace, Sean Taylor. Happy birthday, and let's get into it, man. Thank y'all for joining me. Let's go to his early life. Let's get it. So on April 1st, 1983, Sean Michael Taylor was born to Don Jr. and Pete Taylor, who had split before his birth. His birth hometown was Florida City in Miami, which is close to the Homestead area. People where I'm from, we consider it down south. Florida City never been a sweet place. If you could describe his neighborhood how he would have, it was just a long street of candy-colored houses, man. You know what I'm saying? So Sean Taylor was against the odds. He ain't come up in the best neighborhood, let's say. Down south get treacherous too. Everybody thinks it's just Liberty City. Everybody that's not from Miami actually thinks Miami is just my background, South Beach and downtown Miami. But then when you get to the trenches, it go down. Till this day, Florida City is still treacherous. Even in Sean Taylor's days, he's from a different generation. But till this day, things are pretty treacherous there. Look, let me show y'all a little video footage real quick, and we're going to jump back into the story. 1 minute of what's still going on in Florida City, so y'all can get an idea of where this legend is from.
Another airlifted to the hospital after a shooting in Florida City.
And this is the latest in a string of shootings in the area. And Local 10 crime specialist Bridget Matter live in Southwest Miami-Dade with the latest. Bridget.
Neighbors that we spoke to in this neighborhood, they are scared. They say this is a usual occurrence in their neighborhood to hear gunfire. And tonight, one person is dead. Another person was airlifted here to the hospital. One man is dead, another is fighting for his life after a shooting in Florida City Friday evening. It happened around 6:45 near 600 Southwest 7th Terrace. Detectives closed down nearby streets, not letting anyone in who does not live in the neighborhood. Commissioners Walter Thompson and James Gold say they work closely with police to help solve these crimes and ease the community.
We know our police officers are first on the scene, and they're doing their job by securing the area.
The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office is the lead investigating agency on the homicide. We spoke to neighbors off camera who say they're too scared to speak because of recent violence in the neighborhood. Last month, Local 10 told you about a 90-year-old man who was shot while doing a crossword puzzle in his bed. It happened blocks away from this most recent shooting. In January, 13-year-old Jovan Taylor was shot and killed in the same area. Miami-Dade detectives would make an arrest weeks later. In this latest shooting, investigators say they're limited on information and have not released any suspect description as of now. Police still very early on in their investigation, but Florida City Police did give us an update in the last 30 minutes. They say that person that was taken here to the hospital is expected to survive. We're live in Southwest Miami-Dade tonight. Bridget Matter, Local 10.
Now that you've seen where the legend Sean Taylor was from, against all odds, for the first 10 years of his life or so, he lived with his mom, grandma, and 3 half-siblings. His relationship with his mom was great, like no other. He really felt like a protector, and it came from him being younger. His sister actually said this in one of the most famous documentaries on Sean Taylor. Check this out.
I think he was more so a protector, and that started from being younger. He felt like he was the man of the house all the time. I think when he had to go stay with his dad, that really hurt him because he would be away.
So as y'all see, when he had to move away from his mom's house, that really hurt him when he moved in with his dad, leaving his mom behind. That actually planted a seed and it blossomed. And that's what made him have love for the sport of football, because he had a dedication and drive to get his family back together. That's what he told his auntie one day. And she even talked about it. This really broke my heart when I heard her just breaking the tears and all that and say this.
He wanted everyone to be together. He wanted his mom and his sisters and brothers to be back together. And I think that was his focus that drove him.
On the run, and he's
So Sean Taylor started his football career in my old high school, Miami Killen Senior High School. Shout out to my teachers, Mr. Schmussler. He was my math teacher. He was the best one there, honestly. I'm going to be real with you. It was a pretty straight school, though, but he did end up transferring to Gulliver Prep. By the way, when I was in Miami Killen Senior High School, they were balling. They had Lamar Miller as running back. He ended up going to the Canes, and he became a Dolphin. Then he went to the Houston Texans before his career in football was over. But he did start in Killen and went to Gulliver Prep, and that's where he really made an impact. After transferring to Gulliver Prep, Sean Taylor became a 3-sport star: basketball, track and field, and football. Matter of fact, the only game they lost that year when they went to the state 2A championship, which he helped them beat, the only game they lost was the first game of the season, which was the only game he sat out. That was in the year 2000, and they ended with a 14-1 record. However, that year, Taylor was a star on both sides of the field, both sides of the ball. He played running back, rushed for over 1,400 yards. He played linebacker and D-back, all in one. I'm telling you, this man actually scored a state record of 44 touchdowns and also ran for over 200 yards twice during Gulliver Prep's playoff run. He compiled more than 100 tackles during that season and scored 3 touchdowns in the state title game against Mariana High School. Track and field, Taylor won the state 2A 100-meter yard dash in Florida. He had many more accomplishments than that, and after his death, he was honored with a plaque to remember him in the school's cafeteria. Also, the football field at Gulliver Prep was renamed the Sean Taylor Memorial Field on September 5th, 2009. Now we get into the legendary part of his career for real, because he worked his way all the way up since high school when he played all different type of positions, like I said, and he excelled at all of them. He was ranked #1 athlete by the Miami Herald. He was ranked #1 athlete on a state level, even from a Gainesville Times they had in a magazine. Like, let's be real, he was just the #1 all-around athlete in the state at the time. You know what I'm saying? And now that we're gonna get into his college career, we're about to get into some crazy stuff for real. This was when he really made some impacts and got the names he got later known as the Beast, the hardest hitter in the league. So in 2001, Sean Taylor was one of only 4 true freshmen behind a team of veterans, and also went down on Larry Coker's team as the best team in college football history, who beat Nebraska and blew them out in the national championship. Nobody could stop these people. Vince Wilfork, Ed Reed, too many legends to name. Sean Taylor was bred by these guys. He played on defensive schemes and nickelback schemes as a backup. That's where he played there. That's just how you know this team was legendary. And like I said, their records they set. Ken Dorsey at the time passed for 50 touchdowns, which was the most in Canes history at that time, right? Ken Dorsey was a great quarterback, and I think we were supposed to have about 3 championships. 1 championship against Ohio State, which was when Sean Taylor played. He even caught 2 interceptions. We'll get into that. 02 or 03 against Ohio State. A pass interference call that even the commentator said was BS is what cost us that game. But he will be a part of this team, which was legendary, and y'all got to see this.
The first time I was ever a champion like of anything. So I never experienced that. Just to sit there and say I'm the best, and all the work that we put in really, came to that. That was a product of all our work.
Fast forward to 20 years, do you think we'd be all sitting here talking about the greatest college football team ever assembled? No.
We never saw ourselves.
No, that's the thing. It's like it was the process. It wasn't about the pinnacle at the very end. It wasn't about that. It's like it was the process. It wasn't about the pinnacle at the very end. It wasn't about that.
No timeout. 2-1 for
Yeah, I'm yelling at me. Give me the ball. Let's go. But that truly goes to show how much trust we had for him to hear my voice and give me the ball. That's how much we've been around each other. They didn't have a chance.
Not at all.
Why did Nebraska have no chance?
They really had zero clue that what was going to happen. And they told me that.
The 2001 Miami Hurricanes wouldn't just make history on the field. They would make history in the draft all time, with 85-man roster and 38 men being drafted to the NFL, including 17 first-rounders. Do you hear that? 17 first-rounders, where Sean Taylor went number 5 when he got drafted a couple years later, obviously. But he was a first-rounder, and he went number 5. And if I'm not mistaken, that year it was 7 first-rounders. And were they maybe all in the top 10? I'm not sure. Let me not get into it, and let's get to the facts. But I can tell you, in this 2001 Hurricanes team, where he was a freshman, they have the best awarded class in the draft.
It hurts. I was hurt before this game.
I remember, you were hurt all week in practice.
I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it. I'm putting my heart in this dog. Let's go, man. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
So now, as you guys seen, the team that Sean Taylor played backup for, now you know what type of legendary guy this was. Even though his years to be the champ would come, they weren't there just yet. 2001, he was on a national champion winning team. 02 and 03, the Hurricanes did go to the national championship. But before all of that, since we jumped a little bit ahead, just know that his last year in Gulliver, he went hard, super hard. Look at this flip.
In fishing, he was competitive. In the state championship game, the running back on the opposing team was Mr. Football for 2A for our classification. Really? Really? And you're not going to give that to Sean.
You got to think Sean Taylor's just a little upset that Rashard Dudley got 2A Player of the Year.
Sean was trying to rip that guy's head off every single time that guy touched the ball.
You got to think Sean Taylor's just roaming that field, just trying to hunt down number 5, and every time those two helmets come together, there are words spoken. Sean Taylor nails Rashard Dudley. Sean Taylor makes him pay.
Taylor made 3 trips to the end zone to Dudley's 1 and set a state record with his 44th touchdown of the season. Taylor ended his high school career a state champion, one step closer to his dream of using football stardom to reunite his mother's side of the family.
So now y'all see the grit Sean Taylor played with. That's how he became a local celebrity coming out of high school. He made Gulliver Prep champs. And like I said, they even named the field after him, man. This guy was probably the best player to walk around South Miami to exist. He did have a situation before. He always kept it real with Miami, his city. That's why I got so much love for him and his remembrance and his legacy, man. Because he actually went to a park and was playing, hooping with somebody. He had an argument with a guy. A dude pulled out a gun. It jammed. He knocked it out of his hand and ran away. He never left the city, no matter what type of little fame he got, because the University of Miami would end up being his hometown. His home school. So at the end of the day, he kept it real with the city. That's all he could have did. The same city that he would end up losing his life in, which is the tragic, sad way to go, just like all these rappers nowadays. So you guys saw the type of team he played backup for. And even though his time to shine wasn't here yet, his teams would recall how he would tell them the vigorous workout routine his dad had him on all the way in through high school and all the way up to college to get him ready for the next level that he would set the standard very high on. They would work out on the highways before school or after school. At any given moment, you would see them working out. and all type of different type of crazy level workouts. You know, his friends would recall that. I did see an interview where they would run on highways where cars were actively going, and Miami traffic is pretty crazy. Everybody knows this. But on that highway, yo, like at certain times at night and all that, you got people drinking. You know, it's Miami, the city that never sleeps, y'all. So his workouts were pretty crazy. His dad really helped him with that. So Clinton Portis would see that in the recruiting aspect, they were bringing in another running back. So he thought, because in the film, Sean Taylor's film was all running back film, and he had heard of Sean Taylor actually. And in his highlights, you would see him jumping over people, running people over. So he said, hold up, man, they snuck one in on me. I'm supposed to be the starter, right? He called the coach. The coach told him, hey, Portis, this guy's coming to play safety. They would go on to make a very good friendship, but this was the beginning of the Sean Taylor's legacy in the University of Miami. Now, if you've ever been to Miami or you're from Miami and reside there, you know there's one thing they won't never run out of, and it's Cubans. From Cuban bakeries, the Cuban cafes, the Cuban people. Everybody's familiar with the movie Scarface, right? Scarface is the best thing I can show you an example as a classic that showed you how the Cubans got to Miami in the Mario boat lift. And, you know, a little bit of the history in the background there. That's off topic, though. But everybody knows about that movie, right? That's a Cuban, just for the people that don't know. I am a Cuban from Miami as well. So while going to the University of Miami, it wasn't surprising he met a Cuban from high school that he already had a crush on, and now he had developed feelings for. He became very popular. She actually played soccer. Her name was Jackie Garcia. She would end up being the mother of his daughter, Jackie Taylor. But before we get there, we'll get there later on. So one day he came home and told his dad he wanted to learn Spanish. So he would come trying to speak in Spanish and communicate in it. And he was all enthusiastic about it because obviously, you know, he wanted to learn Spanish to communicate with her parents and, you know, please her as well. So that's respect that. That's love to that, man.
Cool.
We had like science or something together. So I guess he went home that night. I met this girl at school. I like her, but I need to learn Spanish because she's Cuban.
But he said, I don't want to learn Spanish. He started coming home speaking in Spanish, want them talk to him in Spanish so he can be able to communicate. So.
Was he able to pull it off?
A little bit.
His 2002 season would be the first one that he was a starter, and Taylor was a second-team All-Big East selection by the league's head coaches. He finished third on the team with tackles with 85, 53 solo of them, broke up 15 passes, intercepted 4, forced 1 fumble, put to mind. This is his first year as a starter. Blocked 1 kick and returned a punt for a touchdown. He led all Miami defensive backs in tackles, interceptions, and broken up passes. Like, come on, man. This man was a beast. He had a career high of 11 tackles and 2 solo and 2 intercepted passes in the Hurricanes National Championship against Ohio State. He made a critical play during the game where he intercepted the quarterback, Craig, and then he ran the ball out of the end zone, and then the running back Maurice caught up with him and stripped the ball away from him. Recovered the ball for Ohio State, allowing them to kick a field goal to go up 17-7 at the time. That game they lost literally by a bad pass interference call in the game. You guys can look at it. I'm going to put a clip over here, but that's the only reason they lost that game. I'm just going to keep it 100 with y'all. That pass interference call, if they don't get that against Miami, even the commentator said it was bullcrap. Sean Taylor would have had a national championship ring on his finger from him being a starter, though, not even as a backup like in 01 when they beat Nebraska.
Spencer keeps it, throws it to the end zone, and it is picked off. Picked off by Sean Taylor. He threw it right to him. He had double coverage on his intended receiver and no chance to get it there, and Clarett took it away from him.
Yes, he did, Keith. Maurice Clarett with the play of the game, perhaps, as Sean Taylor going down the sidelines, reminiscent of George Teague of Alabama stealing the ball from Miami.
So 2002 will be a legendary year for the Canes. They would lose that national championship to Ohio State. Like I said, it was a bad call. I'm going to play it here. Y'all will see it. But 2003 would be the historical year for Sean Taylor. 2003 was when he just blew up. It was just too much tackles piling on, interceptions. And this is when he really was labeled the legendary hitter. This man hit so hard, y'all. Like, you guys will see a play where he really hit somebody, which I played in the beginning of this video, but he hit somebody and made him do a backflip. Everybody knows Florida State Seminoles is a Miami rivalry that's been going back decades, and he landed this hit on this guy and made him fumble, but it was so hard. This guy was labeled the hardest hit in safety in the league. They called him the Beast, the Meast. They called him so many things that had to do with just heavy hitting. He even himself introduced himself as the heaviest hitter safety in the league, man.
He was doing so much.
Number 26 shows you why he's the #1 safety
Definitely one of my favorite plays was against Florida State. PK Sam caught a pass. He just knocked him flat on his ass. Made him do a 360.
So before we finish on 2003 and 2002, remember that bad call I was telling you about? It went overtime. Miami had caught up. It was 24-17 if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to show you guys this. And they called a pass interference call when the intended target was Gamble. However, Sharp did not touch Gamble until after Gamble made contact with the ball. And the pass interference, we all know, is before the receiver has touched the ball if there was an interference of that throw, right? So this became one of the most controversial calls in history and changed the fate of both schools till this day. You're going to see the comments, but look at this clip and y'all tell me if it was pass interference.
Claret's up there as a wide out too. The ball goes into the end zone and it is incomplete. Intended for Gamble. Now there is a penalty flag thrown.
Hold on.
Hold the phone. Everybody comes running down on the field. You got to get off because there's a penalty flag thrown and I think it's against Miami.
And if it's thrown in the end zone, the ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. First and goal.
Lynn Sharp trying to cover Chris Gamble, and he may have arrived a tad too soon. Randy Crystal. Yep.
On Chris Gamble, number 7. Oh, that's a tough call there. What about this angle? Bad call. Bad call. Tough call there. What about this angle? Bad call. Bad call. Bad call.
So there you have the controversial call. It's up to y'all to decide, but I also put some comments here that y'all are looking at in which people actually gave their opinion. But then again, hey, fate played the way it did. Destiny was what it was, and God had his plans. If the sport was rigged, it was rigged back then. It's still rigged now, right? It doesn't change the fact Sean Taylor was a legend, though. Let's keep going. 2003 junior season. Let's get it.
His junior season, Taylor intercepted 10 passes to lead the nation. He returned 3 for touchdowns. It's just like tackle after tackle, interception after interception. He just went from like here and like he just blew up. After just 3 years at Miami, Taylor declared for the draft, drawing the attention of a former teammate. Now in Washington, I remember, if you know Telecode's Gibbs and Great Williams, like, we need to drive Sean and Taylor. And he would call on the phone, and he'd go, Sean. He'd go like that. That's why he didn't hang up. I'm Sean Taylor, University of Miami. The hardest hitter in the drive. The hardest hitter in the draft chose not to attend it. Taylor stayed in Florida to celebrate with his family. He was actually living his dream. He slept his entire life on an NFL pillow until the day he got drafted. And I still have it. I was like, wow, he really did this. He was sitting there and he would talk to us and say, life is going to change and, things are going to be better. And, it was never about himself. It was always about everybody else, which made it even more. With the 5th pick in the 2004 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Sean Taylor, safety, University of Miami. He was very proud. He was proud that he was going to be able to take care. There was only 4 of us drafted in 2004 from the Redskins, Sean and I, and then 2 offensive linemen.
Sean Taylor. He came in early, a lot of height, very good. All he kept telling me is every time you catch the ball,
down with it.
So there's one play where we're in Washington, 35 yards. So Culpepper drops back, throws the ball in the end zone, but somehow caught the ball. Looked up and said, "Did you catch that?" I looked at him and said, "You damn right I did." The 2 times that I played.
So as y'all just saw, Sean Taylor made all his dreams become a reality, especially the fact he grinded just to do it for his family. And I just showed y'all where he came from. He had to overcome a lot of obstacles, so much respect to him, and my condolences to his family once again. Anyways, this was the future of his NFL career now, being drafted 5th in the first round of a legendary 6 record players on top of that were drafted, including Vince Wilfork and the rest. He would be the first one to sign his contract worth millions, but later he fired his agents because after the other players drafted in the first round, former teammates at least, had got their money, he found out that they had a little bit more than him or whatever it was. He fired his agents, then hired another agent he had fired back in the day, and he stood with him the rest of his career until his passing. Now, Sean Taylor's NFL career would be one of great success with the Washington Redskins at the time, but it wouldn't come without trials and tribulations. Matter of fact, he was at least fined 7 times for late hits, uniform violations, and other infractions, including sometimes one time he spit on somebody where Clinton Portis and Ryan Clark even spoke on it, where he spit on the guy after an argument. You know, sometimes Sean Taylor may be short-fused. You know, at the end of the day, nobody's a saint, right? Sean Taylor would end up battling against Andre Lott for the starting safety position, which he would end up winning down the line. However, in the meantime, when he did debut against Denver Broncos, he scored a record of 2 interceptions. And I mean, hey, if you ask me, for your first game as a rookie coming into the NFL, that's great. He finished his rookie season in 2004 with 76 combined tackles, 60 solo, 9 pass deflections, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and a sack in 15 games and 13 starts, y'all. That's amazing. Before the 2005 season started, Taylor switched his number from 36 to 21 after it was available due to the departure of cornerback Fred Smoot, who went to the Vikings. Taylor kept the number anyways when Smoot rejoined the Redskins in 2007. Smoot opted to wear number 27. Defensive coordinator Greg Williams at the time opted to retain Taylor as the starting free safety to begin the regular season, alongside strong safety Ryan Clark. Shout out to him, he's still around nowadays. He did start the Washington Redskins season opener against the Bears and recorded 4 solo tackles and broke up a pass in their 9-7 victory. On November 11, 2005, it was reported Clinton Portis and him received fines from the NFL due to violating the league's uniform code during the Redskins' 17-home victory against the Eagles. Some different times, right, when they were actually beating the Eagles, which is not far-fetched now with Jadon Daniels, right? But the league's uniform code during the Redskins' 17-10 home victory, actually they required to be all white socks instead of the striped socks they were wearing. So they were fined there. Taylor's fine was for $5,000, and at the end of the day, he really didn't care. I heard he also got fined for his helmet. When they took his helmet, his coach put it in his locker, and then he got a new helmet and put tape around it, which wasn't, allowed. He was inactive for the Redskins' Week 10 loss at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers due to an injury. On January 1st, 2006, he collected a season-high 9 combined tackles, deflected 2 passes during a 31-20 win at the Philadelphia Eagles. So they were beating Philly back then. Taylor finished the 2005 season with 70 combined tackles, 60 by himself, a career high of 10 pass deflections, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles, and a sack in 15 games and 15 starts. Legendary. The Washington Redskins finished second in the NFC East with a 10-6 record and received the playoff first round against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And actually, he had 7 combined tackles, and I think even returned a pick in that game with a 17-10 victory at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. During this game, though, he allegedly spit in the face of the Buccaneers running back Michael Pittman and hit him in the face. He was ejected. Anyways, 2 days later, the NFL fined him $17,000 for the incident, and the Redskins subsequently were eliminated in the following game after losing to the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC divisional round. Taylor finished the loss with 7 combined tackles and a pass deflection. In 2006, head coach Joe Gibbs named Taylor the starting free safety to start the regular season in 2006, along with starting strong safety Adam Archuleta. Archuleta was benched for the second half of the season in favor of Troy Vincent. He was a legendary guy, too. Y'all know that. On October 15th, Taylor collected a season-high 10 combined tackles, 8 solo, and a deflected pass during a 25-22 loss to the Tennessee Titans. Damn, those were some times, right? Week 9, Taylor combined 8 tackles and returned a blocked 35-yard field goal attempt by Mike Vanderjagt with a 30-yard gain in less than 6 seconds left in the game. A face mask on Taylor by Carl Koshier added a 15-yard penalty and allowed the Redskins kicker Nick Novak to kick a 47-yard game-winning field goal to defeat the Cowboys 22-9. The following week, he will play an extremely good game against the Panthers, and his interception would be the game-winning play. Right? And he was voted as the NFC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance. He finished 2006 season with a career high 111 combined tackles, 86 solos, 6 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception in 16 games and 16 starts as the permanent starter. During the season, Washington Redskins assistant coach Greg Williams frequently called Taylor the best athlete that he had ever coached, and the NFL labeled him the hardest hitter. Prior to the 2007 season, Sports Illustrated was actually the ones labeled him the hardest hitter. Now, let's not forget, before all this, before even getting into this deep NFL, let's not forget his daughter, which was the most important thing to Sean Taylor. Remember I told y'all he was a family man earlier, and that's one thing I can tell you. I went to school with his nephew. That man was a family man. His nephew's name was Israel, like I said. But anyways, Jackie Taylor nowadays plays volleyball. God bless her. God bless her soul, man. I'm glad that everything worked out for her in life. She plays for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Jackie Taylor, if y'all want to go show her some love on the gram, add her up, show her some love. And man, add Sean Taylor's page, Sean Taylor the legend, and show him some love as well. Sean Taylor would admit now in these NFL times that a lot of things he had changed in the ways that he was because of his daughter, even though some run-ins will come with the law now. Just so you guys know, at the time of his death, Taylor was tied for the most interceptions in the National Football Conference and second in the league with 5, despite having missed weeks 11 and 12 with a knee injury. Taylor also had compiled 42 tackles, 9 passes defended, and a forced fumble. On December 18, 2007, Taylor was posthumously voted to his second Pro Bowl, becoming the first deceased player in NFL history to be elected to the Pro Bowl. During the Pro Bowl, Redskins players who had been selected, Chris Samuels, Chris Cooley, and Ethan Albright, wore number 21 to honor Taylor. There would be a memorial which would cause some controversy in there, and we'll get to that now. Like the Redskins had done earlier in the season, the NFC lined up with just one safety on the first play of the game, y'all. And let me show y'all his stats in the NFL now so y'all can see how he ended his NFL career all the way up until his death, y'all. Now, everything wasn't always perfect. In October 2004, Taylor was arrested in Fairfax County, Virginia on a charge with DUI and alcohol following a birthday party for former Redskin receiver Rod Gardner in D.C. Taylor was pulled over for driving 82 miles per hour and where the speed limit was 55. He failed the sobriety test and refused the blood alcohol test. Anyways, in 2005, a Fairfax County judge acquitted Taylor on the DWI charge after viewing a videotape of Taylor's roadside sobriety test that, according to the judge, failed to demonstrate obvious intoxication. So that's a win for Taylor. Taylor was, however, convicted for refusing to take a blood alcohol test requested by a Virginia State police officer. That's some laws there, ain't it? Taylor's conviction on refusing to take the alcohol test was heard on appeal later that month. In 2005, in March, Taylor was also acquitted of the charge, with the judge ruling that there was a lack of probable cause for the arrest. In June 2005, Taylor was also stopped by police following an incident in which bullets were fired into a stolen vehicle. Who or what, I don't know, but like I said, streets are the streets, right? In April 2006 trial, Taylor pled no contest to misdemeanor battery and assault charges and was placed on 18 months probation in order to support 10 Miami-Dade County schools, which is the city where we from, y'all. Hey, and let's go for the Hurricanes, baby. R.I.P. Sean Taylor. Miami-Dade County schools by speaking about the importance of education and donating $1,000 to each school, y'all. Anyways, man, his NFL career was great. And, he'll forever be missed. It's inevitable. He'll forever be missed, y'all. So in 2007, when I was going to Palmetto Middle, but on the night of November 26th, while at home, Sean Taylor had heard noises. If I'm not mistaken, maybe even a broken window. He went to investigate the cause. And in the heat of the moment, he told them to get up out of there, but he had a machete. Hey, you know what happens when you bring a knife to a gunfight, but God rest his soul. I know that it played out that way. I just wish nowadays, that he would have had a gun and been able to defend himself now, But he was shot in the leg by a home intruder. The problem was the bullet had hit him in his femoral artery. His fiancee, Jackie Garcia, and his 18-month-old daughter, Jackie, were unharmed in the incident. But his femoral arteries were severed, causing extensive blood loss, man. He was rushed to Jackson Memorial Hospital, which is on 152 right there by me, where he died the following day on November 27th at the age of 24, y'all. The killers actually, November 30th, 4 men, Van Jacques Hunt, Eric Rivera, 17, Jason Scott Mitchell, and Charles Kendrick Lee Wardlow, 18, were arrested. Police actually said more than one confessed. All 4 men were charged with felony second-degree murder, armed burglary, and home invasion robbery with a firearm, charges which carried a maximum life in prison. In May 2008, a 5th suspect, Timothy Brown, was charged with first-degree murder and burglary. All murder charges were subsequently increased to first-degree murder. The death penalty, however, was not sought because the gunman, Rivera, was 17 years old. That's the Redskin dude that I'm going to show y'all, and he's already popped up on the screen. I ended up running into him in Lake Butler. When one of my homies came and told me about him, I was like, man, dude, man, trying to ride in the Dade County whip. I'm like, hell no, man, that's the man locked up for Sean T. But I was in transition in Butler. But I told my dog, like, man, yeah, all right, we'll see when he get around there, you feel me? But we never got to actually see each other face to face. But he told me about him. He showed me on him on tablet. He's like, this dude. And he's like, yeah, that this dude, he didn't even tell him he was locked up for the same reason. I'm like, yeah, boy, that I say no more. And I'm like, man, he ain't riding in the Dade County. I was like, that's not going to happen out here. And he was like, man, whatever, bro. Like, that's crazy. You know, I laced him up about it, like how everything happened. He confessed, but how he had really killed it and, you know, unalived the real Dade County legend that everybody had love for. And some of my peoples actually were family to. Now, a lot of versions came out before I first heard that, you know, that his girl's sister came by. I knew this is BS. It already got knocked out. That didn't happen. But his girl's sister, they threw a party, and then the people doubled back. But what really happened was the fact alleged mastermind Jason Mitchell was a little snake, and he was hanging out with people, hanging out with Sean T, made him trust him. And he was the mastermind of the burglary plan. They were from Fort Myers. He's seen a lick and whatever. You know, they probably thought, I think I heard that he was supposed to be injured or something, and they came not expecting anyone to be there. But Mitchell was found guilty of first-degree murder and armed burglary and given a life sentence. Venture K. Hunt was sentenced to 29. Eric Rivera was sentenced to second-degree murder and manslaughter, burglary, and trespassing. He was sentenced to 57. I remember he came out on a meme where he was crying, trying to get it lowered. Charles Radlow was sentenced to 30 years of prison. So all of them boys got kind of slammed, though. You know what I'm saying? But in the county jail, y'all, no lie. I heard about each one, like, at least like 2 or 3 of them for sure. That Rivera had got whooped at least 3 or 4 times. Like, I am already hearing about it in the building. You know, players know players, and everybody hearing about it like, yo, this dude, and you know, because everybody in there don't know how to fight, but I'm saying them boys came to the Miami-Dade County Jail, and they look at who they just got locked up for, you know, so it wasn't a good time for them, just so y'all know that. Nobody respected them, especially not me. At least not me, but a lot more people didn't respect them. Multiple players have honored Taylor by donning his jersey numbers after his death that he wore during his college and professional career. During his college year, Taylor wore number 26 for the Miami Hurricanes. In his professional year, you know, he obviously wore number 36 and then switched to the number 21, like I told y'all, for the remainder of his career. Taylor's former teammate, safety Ryan Clark, like I said, shout out to him again, returned to the Redskins in 2014 after an 8-year stint with the Steelers. During practices, Clark wore number 21 in Taylor's honor. The Redskins' second-round pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, Sua Cravens, chose number 36 upon the Redskins as a rookie in dedication to Taylor. Anyways, one thing that did cause a lot of commotion, they ended up taking it down. They had a memorial coming for Sean Taylor in Washington Stadium, right? And everybody was waiting for the things to pop back and everybody could see it, right? And here's what y'all see right here in this video. Look at this.
Commanders pulled out a win on their home field Sunday, but something special off the field left some fans kind of scratching their heads. The team unveiled a memorial for the late Sean Taylor on the 15th anniversary of the star player's murder during a home invasion. Taylor was a hard-hitting safety who quickly became a fan favorite in D.C. The two-time Pro Bowler left a lasting impact with Washington and a future generation of NFL players. His family, including his daughter there, were on hand for the event. His daughter Jackie was just a baby when she lost her father. Clinton Portis was Taylor's teammate in college and in the NFL. He said he was glad to see his friend recognized.
To know that Sean will always be iconic and legendary in this place. No matter where the stadium goes, no matter where the team goes, whatever happens, Sean's going to be a part of it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm glad for it because you know what? Not only is this generation, but there's a lot of generations that follow Sean and want to be a part of what he's done. And this is the goal. Set the goal high so you can reach that goal.
Now, while the team never used the word statue, they called it an installation, and many fans say they expected more than what they saw yesterday. In fact, fans took to social media. Where else do they go first? Brian here saying it looks like something you'd see at Sears, touting a new winter collection. This organization doesn't do anything right. A fan, Kevin, tweeting that Dan Snyder has done it again. The Sean Taylor statue is a wire mannequin from TJ Maxx. What an owner. The frustration was very clear. Cody Bennett used the words beyond embarrassing.
So I understand, like, y'all wanted to do something, it's the thought that counts. But yo, when you're talking about a legend like that, his family, all the fans waiting on him, they were disappointed. Washington loved Sean Taylor. Miami loved Sean Taylor. So when they unveiled this thing and y'all just saw how it looked, there was a lot of controversy and it ended up getting taken down. Anyways, Sean Taylor was one of those guys, like I said, too many labels in his career where even though he had his ups and downs, but no matter what, he was a family man. There's no way around it, you know? His family lost a great brother, a great son, a great father, a great everything. You know, and I'm glad that his family is well off. This was the story of Sean Taylor. I'm really thankful for y'all being here with me as we grow the channel. My next episode 2 on Legends Never Die will be Aaron Hernandez, right? And anyways, in this story, I told y'all I was actually pretty in tune with this because I'm from Miami. I went to Palmetto, and when it happened, like I said, limos pulled up. They pulled Israel. That was his nephew. And from there, it was just crazy. So I know so much about it. Then later on, I got locked up myself. And I was around, you know, not literally in the same cell, but around the same jails and hearing about all these same people that were locked up for it and what was happening to them. So thank y'all for tuning in, man. Drop a dub for Sean Taylor. Please, y'all, if y'all could. You know, we want to keep his legacy alive. Happy birthday to him. His daughter's birthday just passed, Jackie Taylor. You know, if you see this, happy birthday to you. And Sean Taylor will always be a legend for the youth. Tony Talk CFB. Till the next time.
Emotions ran deep as family, friends, and fans paid their respects to Redskins safety Sean Taylor. Thousands of people filed into Florida International University's Farmed Arena to attend the service, including his teammates from Washington and the Miami Hurricanes, fans, and other famous sports figures. On a huge video screen, highlights of Taylor's career played. Speaker after speaker noted Taylor's warmth and caring and his personal and spiritual growth after the birth of his daughter.
I'm gonna miss him with all my heart. I love him. You know, I thought when he came to the Redskins, I was his guardian angel. And the way events went, as God would have it, he turned out to be one of mine.
I would also like to thank you, Sean. Thank you for loving my sister the way you did. Thank you for the integrity and humbleness you never failed to show. It's a funny thing how God always seems to take the special ones too soon.
The Reverend Jesse Jackson hoped the grief would spark a commitment among the living.
Those who still live must make the stop. We are all the safety now. NFL players, you must play safety and stand between communities and violence.
I will bless the Lord, for he's been good to me.
Unwilling to break from the player they loved so much, mourners followed the casket out as it was ready for interment in a private service. Police have charged 4 young men with killing Taylor. Their transport to Miami was delayed so as not to detract from the service. Tony Winton, The Associated Press, Miami.
By the way, before I forget, y'all go show love to Gabe Taylor, which is playing for the Washington Commanders at Jaden Daniels' team right now, which they're doing great. We saw how close they came, and they did beat Detroit, right? He's actually Sean Taylor's brother, and he's in the professional league playing cornerback, and he's following in his brother's footsteps. So I really hope everything goes well for him. He can have a healthy career, and he can fulfill his brother's shoes. I mean, he'll never be Sean Taylor, but he could be greater. He could be him, however it will. He's a great player. Y'all show him some love.
Bro, I left the game at 30 for a different reason. Like, I left the game at 30 because I realized it didn't matter. Once they moved Sean T. Locker out of the locker room, my love for the game disappeared. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, everybody looked like, oh man, you left the game so early. No, I sat in a locker room where, for a guy that we looked at as a god, and I saw them remove his locker and put someone else there to create space. There was plenty of space in the locker room. Right. You could have built a new locker. Right. You didn't have to remove Sean Taylor locker. Right. At that time, I was too sensitive. You see what I'm saying? I was too sensitive at that moment, and it happened too early. Right. You know, now I think it's a great idea that everyone gets to see it. And, you know, it's in the stadium and every fan and anybody who wants to acknowledge Sean or see Sean gets an opportunity to walk past that locker or take a picture. But at that time, I could never swallow that pill. You know, when I see a guy that did everything, that laid it on the line, and he became replaceable that quick, it changed my outlook. Like, because I was one of the most competitive guys. It didn't matter what it was. I didn't have to know how, but I believe in me. So when I see a guy like Sean, who still has an effect on the world, so positive, after all the negative that happened, like in the beginning he was a villain, and he turned that villain into the most lovable, respectable guy that you could possibly find. Everybody is influenced by Sean Taylor. I played with Ed Reed and Sean T. It don't get no better than that teammate. That, not to mention anybody else that I played with, but I played with Ed Reed and Sean T. Like, bro, you gotta be kidding me. And when I see a guy that could have been the face of the NFL, the best player in the NFL, and you remove his locker, I just never, along with me having a coach that didn't understand me. You see what I'm saying? Like, everything happened at